Hi, my name is Steve Brown. I'm the president of Arrow Leadership. We develop Jesus-centered leaders. Today on Tips and Tools for Leaders, we're going to focus in on developing others. A lot of people ask me for the best resource to develop other people, other leaders, other people that they're walking alongside. And I've read a lot about leadership. I've gone to a lot of conferences. I've done a lot of schooling. But my best resource on developing others is 1 Thessalonians. Paul's heart and practice for developing others just pours out of 1 Thessalonians. And I want to just give you a few snapshots to help you as you develop others. The first one is Paul's heart for developing others comes through with love. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 2, verse 7, Paul writes, "Just as a nursing mother cares for her children, so we cared for you. Because we loved you so much, we were delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but our lives as well." The foundation for developing others is loving them. And sometimes the people we're trying to develop can be driving us crazy. And for Paul, his love was beyond words. It was sharing his very life with them. And one of the questions we need to ask ourselves as we try and develop others is, do I love these people? And the prayer we need to pray is, God, give me a love for these people. So number one is love. Number two is prayer. Paul prayed for those he was trying to develop. In chapter 1, verse 2, it says, "We always thank God for all of you and continually mention you in our prayers." Always and continually. Those are the words that frame the amount of prayer that Paul was praying for the Thessalonians. And for us, we can get so kind of focused in on the nuts and bolts of developing others, but we need to remember that we need to be praying for those we're developing. And we need to be doing that regularly, intentionally, like Paul did. The third tip I would give would be to be an example. And Paul lived out before the Thessalonians the life that he was seeking for them to lead. And it says in chapter 2, "You are witnesses, and so is God, of how holy, righteous, and blameless we were among you who believed." Paul knew that people were watching, and they were catching what Paul was living out. More was caught than taught, in a sense. So when people look at us, do they see how holy, righteous, and blameless we are? Because people are watching. The fourth area is around perspective, because so often the people we're developing get caught in the trees and miss the forest. And Paul helped the Thessalonians get perspective because they were in a difficult space. And Paul in chapter 1 says, "For we know, brothers and sisters, loved by God." That's the start of perspective, that you're loved by God, that He's chosen you. More perspective, because our gospel came to you with not simply with words, but also with power. Do you remember that, Paul's saying? And then he talks about their challenge, but then he shares how everybody around is talking about their faith and how they're walking with Jesus. So perspective can help people, especially in difficult times. And that's one thing Paul did, and one thing we need to do as leader developers. Fifth thing is encouragement. Paul says that he encouraged them as a father would. And so often the people I walk alongside are discouraged in multiple areas of their life. And that word of encouragement can breathe new life and new hope in them. And the last thing was Paul's teaching. Paul responded to their needs in the rest of 1 Thessalonians, and he addressed things that he knew that they needed. And that last one, teaching, is built on the other five. The foundation of the other five, if you know that somebody loves you, is praying for you, is living it out, has perspective for you, and is encouraging you, your ears are going to be open to hear their heart in their teaching. So those are 6 tools and tips to help develop others. You can download the list at the link on the screen.